Welcome back children. In today's video we are going to start a new lesson, that is chapter number 2 of your class 7 science, that is nutrition in animals. In the previous video we have seen nutrition in plants, in which we have seen different modes of nutrition, photosynthesis process, that is the food making process in all the green plants. About that we have discussed so many concepts. We have also seen heterotrophic mode of nutrition in case of plants, isn't it? Parasitic plant we have seen, insectivorous plants we have seen, lichens, symbiotic relationships. So these are various topics which we have covered in the previous video. Altogether we can say that the nutrition process in plants we have discussed in unit 1, that is chapter number 1. So in second chapter we are going to deal with nutrition in animals. How nutrition process is taking place in animals. In general, nutrition is a process in which the food is intaken and it is utilized to get major components of the food. That is, we have already discussed about the components of food. They are carbohydrate, proteins, vitamins, fats, minerals, isn't it? So these are the various components of food. In order to get these components, these components are obtained from the food. So the process by which the food materials are intaken to get these components of food is what we call nutrition process. And we know that nutrition process in animals is heterotrophic, since they do not prepare their own food. Whereas in the last video we have seen all the green plants prepare their own food. We call those as autotrophic mode of nutrition, and the organisms, all the green plants come under autotrophs. So here animals are the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So we can say that animals get their food from plants, and either directly by eating plants such as vegetables, fruits and all, or indirectly by eating animals that eat plants. This is how the animals depend directly or indirectly on plants. Here some animals eat both plants and animals. We call it as omnivores, isn't it? So which we have already discussed. Altogether all the animals require food for their growth, repair and functioning of the body. So in this chapter we will be learning about the nutrition process, that is how the animal nutrition includes, which contain nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food. Mode of intake means there are a variety of living organisms. Some animals are large enough, which has stomach, intestine and all. Some living organisms are so small that their mode of intake of food differs. So all those things we will be discussing in this chapter and its utilization in the body. Dear students, in the previous class you must have studied about the components of food, which we have just before beginning of the chapter also we discussed. Now here is a home assignment. What you have to do is pause this video and try to recall all the components of food. For your understanding, just I am mentioning one component, that is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is one of the components of food. Rest all you have to find out. Think other components of food and write yourself. This is homework. Let us see how many of you could do this. Dear students, you should know that the components of food such as carbohydrate, which I have mentioned here, are very complex substances. Here complex substances means these are the substances are in such a way that the body cannot absorb it. The body cannot use it as such. So what we have to do is the complex substances need to be broken down into simpler substances so that our body can absorb. Got it? So here these complex substances cannot be utilized as such because they are very complex and large enough which cannot be used up by our body. They are to be broken down into simpler substances. Here the breakdown of complex components of food into simpler one is called a digestion process. So here you should understand what is digestion. Digestion is a process in which complex substance, as we can take example here, this is the complex substance, isn't it? So this complex substance needs to be converted into simpler substances so that our body can use it. The process by which this complex substance is converted into simpler substance is called digestion process. Let us understand how the digestion process takes place in human beings. This digestion process is essential for all the living organisms, and the digestion process is different for different organisms. So we have to learn, we should understand how the digestion process takes place in various organisms. Let us move on to the next topic. Here we have to understand different ways of taking food. We know that in our surrounding there are variety of living organisms. Some organisms are very small, some organisms are big enough with the hands, stomach, everything is available, and some are so huge that their intake of food or large quantity of food is required to carry out their daily activities. So the mode of taking food into the body varies in different organisms. Got it? Here you see bees and hummingbirds suck the nectar of the plants. Here the food for bees and hummingbirds are nectar. A small quantity of food is sufficient for these. Whereas here you see infants of human and many other animals feed on mother's milk. Mother's milk is used as food. So the mode of intake of food by the infants is totally different from the bees and hummingbirds. So the process will also differ, isn't it? Now next you see snakes like pythons swallow the animals they prey upon. You might have seen in National Geographic Channel and all, isn't it? And in your surroundings also you must have seen snakes swallowing frogs and other prey. So snakes engulf the food, isn't it? Some aquatic animals filter tiny food particles floating nearby and feed upon them. So during rainy seasons, the stagnant water, you might have seen some fishes jump over the water, and the things what is present over the surface of water, they feed upon them. Here we have seen only few animals and their mode of intake of food is different. If we see as a whole the universe, millions and millions of living organisms are there, so the mode of intake of food definitely changes, isn't it? So now in this class we will be seeing some of the common methods of the intake of food. Let us see here what is the type of food and mode of feeding of following animals. This activity let us do. Now here you see various modes of feeding is given. Snails, ant, eagle, hummingbirds, various other animals are given in the first column. Second column is kind of food that you have to write here, fill it as a home assignment. Then here mode of feeding. Here you see scraping is one of the mode, chewing is there, siphoning is there, capturing and swallowing is there, sponging, sucking. All these are the mode of feeding. Now here you have to write correctly the mode of feeding, the type of food these animals take. This is your home assignment. So I have given two home assignments so far. One is you have to write the components of food here. Second one is you have to fill this table. You can discuss it with your parents and even with your friends. Now let us see the digestion process. So as we have already discussed, digestion is a process in which complex substance is converted into simpler substances. We take in food through mouth. So we can say that the digestion process starts at the mouth. The unused parts of the food are defecated. As we know that whatever the food we intake, all the food will not be converted into useful compounds. There will be some unwanted substances or unwanted, we call it as unused food items. Those food items are removed from our body, we call it as defecation. Now the question is, have you ever wondered what happens to the food inside the body? Very interesting things we are going to learn in this chapter, in this video. So here the food passes through a continuous canal which begins at the buccal cavity that is present in the mouth and ends at the anus, from where the undigested food particles are removed. So here the canal can be divided into various compartments. Here you can see buccal cavity is there, food pipe, also called esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. These are in sequence. The food particles starts entering from buccal cavity and goes through food pipe, stomach, small intestine, large intestine continuously. Finally, the unused particles are removed from the anus. The compartments through which the food enters and the unused particles goes out of the body is known as alimentary canal. So here is the alimentary canal. This alimentary canal is also known as a digestive tract. Let us see what happens to the food when they happen to pass through these compartments. Here the food components gradually get digested as the food travels through the various compartments. Students, this is our human digestive system as you can see here. Let us start with the mouth, that is buccal cavity. As we know that the food is taken into the body through the mouth. Got it? The process of taking food into our body is known as ingestion process. So here we call it as ingestion. What is ingestion? Ingestion is a process in which food is taken into our mouth. This is the first step in the digestion process. Once the food enters into our mouth, here you can see this is the buccal cavity, isn't it? So this is the buccal cavity. When food enters here, the food resides sometime inside our mouth where we used to chew our food. We chew the food with the teeth. Students, you should know that we have got different types of teeth. Let us talk about different types of teeth. The first type which we are going to see is incisor teeth. The teeth which you see in front is called incisor. Here you will find 4 teeth in front, isn't it? That is called incisor. And this incisor teeth is used to cut or bite any food. So with the help of front teeth, that is below 4 incisors and above the jaw 4 teeth. So altogether we can say 8 teeth are incisors, 4 on the lower jaw, 4 on the upper jaw. The second set of teeth is known as canine. After incisor you will find canine, on both the side 1 canine. So you will find 2 canines on the lower jaw, 2 canines on the upper jaw. Got it? So altogether we find 4 canine, 2 on the lower jaw, 2 on the upper jaw. The main purpose of canine is to pierce the food or to tear any food. The canine is used. Got it? Students, followed by canine teeth you will find 2 teeth premolar and after that 3 molar. On the right hand side also you will see 2 premolar and 3 molar. So on the lower jaw we find 3 plus 3 6 molar and 2 plus 2 4 premolar on the lower jaw. In the upper jaw also we will find 4, so 4 plus 4 will be 8. Here lower jaw we find 6 molar and in the upper jaw also we will have 6 molar, so we will altogether, that is 6 plus 6 will be 12. If you count the total number of teeth, then 8 plus 4 is 12, 12 plus 12 is 24, 24 plus 8 will be 32 teeth. So an adult will have 32 teeth. Premolar and molar is used to chew and grind the food particle. So whenever a food is taken, first you bite the food. Once it is made into pieces, then it goes into the buccal cavity where with the help of premolar and molar we chew the food. For chewing purpose we use molar and premolar. Got it? And in order to tear any food we use canine. So with the help of teeth we understood the food molecules, the larger food molecules can be broken down with the help of our teeth. And with the help of molar and premolar we chew the food. We have discussed about the teeth and their purposes, so you can go a little back and pause the video and you can count the total number of teeth here. For cutting, which teeth is used, so which we have already discussed. Now here another home assignment, that is third home assignment. You have to fill this table and you have to note it down in your notebook. Got it? So this is third home assignment, right? Here you will also find a salivary gland which produces saliva. So the purpose of salivary gland is to produce saliva. When the food enters into the buccal cavity, there with the help of teeth we cut it and chew it. Once the food is ground, then with the help of saliva produced by the salivary gland, it thoroughly mixes. Here the tongue helps to mix the food with saliva. There the digestion of starch will take place. So the starch is digested with the help of saliva. So saliva is very, very important. If saliva is not secreted, then the digestion of starch inside the mouth will not take place. So if carbohydrate enters into our mouth, then inside the mouth itself the digestion process starts. So we can say that the digestion starts in the buccal cavity. So the digestion process in human beings starts in the buccal cavity. Once the digestion process is over, then the food molecules slowly pushed into a tract called esophagus. It is also known as food pipe. Dear students, you should know there is a common tract for both the exchange of gases and food, and here there is a wall. From here air enters into the lungs. We know that here lungs is there, isn't it? Here this is the common tract for both the food and the air. So only it is advised that when you eat food, at that time you should not speak, because while speaking, if you eat food, then there are chances that the food molecules may enter into the windpipe. This we call it as windpipe, that is the respiratory tract. It could be very dangerous if the food particles enter into the windpipe. So dear students, always keep in mind that when you eat food, at that time you should not speak or laugh, because there are chances that the food particles may enter into the windpipe. Got it? So once the digestion process is over in the mouth, then it is pushed into a tract and the food molecules slowly go into, and it is received by a large bag-like structure. We call it as stomach. So dear students, in today's episode we have seen what happens to the food into the mouth. With this I would like to conclude. In the next episode, in the next video, we will be seeing what will happen to the food that has entered into the stomach. So see you in the next. Bye bye.